Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Elementary, Monday evenings at 6. My guest today is going to, you're absolutely going to want to watch the show for all things automation. So, my guest is going to ask me, oops, just give us a minute. Thank you. Hey there.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, good. And you?
I'm well, thank you.
Perfect. So thank you for agreeing to do the show with us today. So delighted. So introduce yourself and your Instagram handle.
So my name is Matt Langlois, and my Instagram handle is home_automationist. Um, and that is my business name, Home Automationist. And that's my Instagram handle. That's how you can reach me.
Perfect. So if all of you watching, you're not following Matt at home_automationist, then you need to go and start following him right now. And but you also need to keep watching the show and let him introduce what he does because you're going to be so excited. So tell us a bit about your business.
So I work, as I mentioned, I am running the business called Home Automationist. I know it's a bit of an interesting name. It's not home automation, it is Home Automationist. And what we do is we work with clients to help design, program, build, and install custom smart home solutions to work for whatever your needs are. So we do everything from something as simple as a doorbell to things as complicated as getting automated curtains. Maybe you want to automate your toaster or your fridge. I know you mentioned that previously in a story that you
You're
just posted,
watching.
but I am. But we do everything. So whatever it is that you're looking to automate, we can work with it. And I think that's the fun of what we do is we're able to kind of make your dreams come to life, which is something that I find enjoyable and I find fun to do to be able to automate different parts of kind of what I would consider something that could be boring if doing it otherwise.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with these systems?
Yeah, so like this is something that I've actually started doing in my home life. So in our home, we've built slowly but surely kind of built a smart home. And to many people, that is something like doing a maybe a Nest thermostat, which is something that I know you mentioned as well. I do watch, I promise. Um, but what we do is more than that because there's things that you do in your life that you walk into a room. Like let's say you walk into your bathroom, something as simple as turning on a light switch and you don't even realize how much you're actually touching this. And it's kind of a COVID inspired thing, but the more you touch things, the more dirty things get. And I know it's something you don't really think about, but if you look at some of your switches, if you don't clean them frequently, look how dirty those get. They get very, very dirty. So something as simple as walking into a room and having it turn on the lights for you and turn off the lights when you're not in that room. It's more than just dirt and grime and stuff. It's energy efficiency. And we're all in the market of saving money when we're looking for new houses or we're looking for anything. You want to save money wherever you can. So knowing when your lights are on, knowing when your lights are off, using LEDs instead of incandescent bulbs, doing all these different things to save you money. But it goes further than that. We do and have been working with energy monitoring for your home so you can actually see how much is being used on your circuit in your home, being able to see how much water is being used from your water system, how much gas is being used for any gas systems that you have. For us, we use it for thermostats as well. So to give you an example, in our home, we don't have central air. So central air is something that a lot of people have, but a lot of people also don't have. And being able to now use smart home tools to build the system to now monitor your energy, monitor the temperature in your home without central air, and being able to basically simulate central air with tools that probably don't cost a whole lot of money. It's a really, really cool experience to be able to change the way you live using smart technology.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Listen, for all of you watching, I know you're probably going to have tons of questions. And if you don't have questions and you're unable to get them on the show, feel free to just drop the question in the question icon box down below, or at some point reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer the questions. How do you stay up to date with these trends in technology?
And I think that's the best part is I do this for fun as well. I don't just do this for fun. This is something I enjoy doing. So I'm on the forums, I'm watching things happen, I'm watching new advances in technology. There's all different pieces that are coming to light every single day. And as we all know, even just our smartphones, they stop being up to date within like 6 months of buying it. So for myself, I keep up to date on this on a daily basis, but there's new protocols, new features that are coming to light that are even cooler than before. A lot of people are using things like Wi-Fi devices, Wi-Fi this, Wi-Fi that. Well, as things develop, we're learning Wi-Fi is probably not the best tool to use as your main smart home circuit. And there's so many different variables for that, and there's so many different protocols that we can use instead. And it's cool to keep up to date on that. So I love staying up to date on that. So rest assured you'll be up to date on that if you're working with me, because it's something I do for fun.
And how do you ensure like security and privacy of the home for the systems you install?
That's a big question because, as you know, working with technology and the more technology advances, the scarier it becomes. One of the biggest ways that we do this is we start off with your system as an intranet. So when we're talking about like your internet and your Wi-Fi and everything, that's something that goes out to the world and then it's exposed to the world, and that's where we all know the danger happens. So we start with everything internal on your network. So nothing goes out, everything stays within your local network. Once we have everything configured and it's working the way that we're looking for, we're able to then expand what we're doing to work with those other services that need the internet. So things like Google and things like servers that are elsewhere that aren't locally in your house. To do that, we then use what's called SSL or secure socket layer through a couple layers of encryption and authentication protocols as well. So you'll have your own secure authentication protocol that you use to connect and interconnect with these different services. And that's something for you to know, nobody else to know. And then there's also secure keys that we get generated for you that are used to now encrypt that data even further. So once it does reach back home to you or out somewhere else, all that data is encrypted and secured through these keys that you will have stored somewhere safe on your new smart home server. On top of that, we also make sure that when we're installing something, we don't know your passwords. So we do things like smart door locks, and that could be kind of scary to people because it's like, well, if I'm setting up your smart door lock, now you know how to get into my house. No, I do not. I don't set up a code for myself. I'll tell you what to do, and I go like this. I don't know your code. I don't know anything. I don't know how to get into your house. Same thing with cameras. People may want cameras or a doorbell or something like that. Those are all very invasive tools for somebody to now set up for you. And it's scary to think like, okay, well, if you're going to set this up, you'll have access. No, I will not. You will have complete access to this. I will not. So not to worry.
And you do this yourself, right? Like you do this,
yes.
Your partner and you, your
yes.
other half and you do it. So it's not like you have like tons of people out there running around installing these things. So it's very
yes.
secure.
Right now I'm doing this. So if you're calling Home Automationist, you're calling me. So
Perfect.
We'll be able to make sure that you have everything that you need and as securely as we can to make sure that there is no issues, because data security and vulnerability on the internet is terrifying to think about, and it's something that we take as like a top priority. So before we even expose anything to the internet, we secure it all first.
Perfect. So can you walk us through like an installation process for a customer, for one of your systems, maybe someone you just worked on not too long ago, or whenever, anyone really?
Yeah, so absolutely. So like we start off with a bit of a design phase because everybody is different. And I think that's something that I'm really proud of with what we offer here is a custom software. So what other companies may offer, and I know you can see this on stuff like if you go with TELUS Mobility, they'll offer you, or Bell or whatever it might be. They're like, hey, get our smart home products for you. Well, everything they offer you is a very streamlined and structure-wise that this is what you get, this is how it works, and this is it. And that doesn't work for me, especially a tech guy, and for many other people who are into the tech industry. You want to make it work for you, not for what other people might want. And that's where we kind of lift off there. So we start with a design phase. What do you want to do, and what are your dreams? How can we accomplish that? So we'll start talking about what you would like to change. So maybe you want to walk into a room and have those lights turn on. Maybe you want to know how much energy is being used on your different lights and your TV, your sound system, your microwave, your refrigerator. How much energy is being used on that? I want to know this. I want to make sure that when I leave my house, maybe it looks like somebody's home when I leave my house. And I want to make sure that that's something that happens. I want my outside lights to turn on when I come home, and I want them to turn off when I'm not home. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe I don't care if they're on at all, but if I'm not home, I want them on. So there's lots of different things that we can work with to now make this home work for you. And that's kind of what we start off with in our preliminary discussions. And then we'll start doing a site walkthrough. Because I don't know what your home looks like. You know what your home looks like. So I need to see it. So we'll come visit, and we'll make sure that we know what we're working with here. And especially working with older homes. Not everybody buys a brand new home. As you would know, lots of people are looking for whatever is available right now. And sometimes with that, you get older homes, especially homes that are built in the 70s and 80s. And specifically, that's what our home is a 70s and 80s home. With that, you don't have a lot of the new wiring that comes with new homes, such as a neutral wire. Now, neutral wires are the new standard, but they're not the protocol. So even if you have an old home, you don't need that wire for it to be up to code. So, I mean, that's a bit of a concern when it comes to smart home technology, because a lot of these new devices require this extra wire. So we can work with that. We have obviously solutions for that. I live in a home that doesn't have neutral wires, and we made it work very well. So that's one of our things. And the next component that we also want to discuss is, how do you want to interact with this smart home? So some people like the idea of strictly talking to it by voice, which is fine. We can do that. We can install things like Google Homes or Alexas or Sonos smart speakers, whatever it might be that you want to work with. The next option that we would look at is installing something like a tablet or a wall tablet, an interface device that you can now work with within the home. And that's what a lot of people have done so far is we work with a tablet that gets mounted to the wall or gets mounted to multiple areas, depending on how many areas you have in the home. And we'll be able to make sure that those are designed in a manner that works for you. And that's, again, where a lot of our design comes in, because everybody's got a smartphone for the most part. And when you have a smartphone, you want to be able to just kind of look at things on your phone. And we work with that too. So we can design this application to now work with whatever fashion works for you, and that's where the real customization comes in. And that's where we start talking about, I mean, how much knowledge do you have to begin with? Do you have a lot of technology knowledge? If so, great. We can kind of start off with a more advanced look and feel. Or do you want to keep things as simple as possible? And we can do that as well. So if you want to keep things simpler, we can make it extremely simple and have just the basic functions that you need, and everything happens in the background for you. Or if you're more advanced and you want to see those things happening up front in your face, we can do that as well. And we can set up these different experiences based on your needs. And that's where it really becomes a custom solution for how you want this to work. And then, of course, once we've gone through these discussions on how you want things to work, where you want them to go, we then move into the building and configuring phase. And then that's where I jump in to now start working in my lab, and I start designing and building all of these different features. And that's something that we do in-house. So we do custom configurations. We have all of our hardware in stock. We do custom configuration and programming for your system to make sure that it's going to work for your home. We lay it all out, and we then start building it. Once we have everything in a kind of preliminary phase of like it's almost ready for install, we then start looking for approval on things like the tablet, on how that's going to look, how the app's going to look on your phone, make sure you're comfortable with the way that that looks. And then comes the final part, the install. So at that point, we will go ahead and take everything that you've now approved for the designs and the functionality, and we'll schedule a time or times, depending how big the install is going to be, to now start installing in your home. And that's going to be things like installing motion sensors or sensors of other kinds, door sensors, sound sensors, vibration sensors. We have it all. Or new lighting, if you have new smart lighting that you're installing, cameras, doorbells, plugs, outlets, whatever it might be that we're working with, we're going to start installing those things based on our schedule that we discuss.
Okay. I mean, this is really interesting. I have a lot of clients who are like older, right? And
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's amazing for them to have this, stuff where they don't have to remember, did I turn the light on? Because, they're obsessive with that stuff, right?
exactly.
And then they don't have to like, leave their house and then walk all the way up because they left the lights on or something. I mean, it's amazing. But with that in mind, comes a little bit of a learning curve, right? So,
Yes.
how do you train if a client is a bit older? Like, do you train them? How do you train them to use the system,
Yeah.
and so on?
Well, it really, again, that comes down to your experience and your base knowledge. So what do you have going into this configuration? Do you have a lot less knowledge? So let's say you are one of your older clienteles that may not have the knowledge of a 15-year-old on one of their new tablets that they know everything about, and maybe you don't have that knowledge. That's where we kind of work with you to make this a custom solution that works best for you. That's where we would make a very simple interface for you to work with. So it's a big button to turn on the light and a big button to turn off the light. Very, very simple. That's going to be what you're going to use to now interact with your home from a device standpoint. But maybe it's easier for you to just speak to your home. And that's what we have in our house and in our clients' houses as well. We have an option for both. So you can use your phone, you can use your voice, or you can just not touch anything. You can just walk into a room and walk out of a room, and it just works for you. And that's my favorite part, is when it just works. And that's why we start looking at these different protocols, because they work offline as well as online. But we'll get into that into a bit. In terms of training, though, it's just more so a matter of understanding what devices you've purchased, what software you're working with. So let's say, for example, you're getting a new door lock, and your door lock's going to be an automated one. So when you leave the house, it locks automatically. That's going to be something that's going to be a learning curve for somebody who's used to locking their door every day. And I know there's issues that some people have where they lock the door and they leave the keys and they walk away in the door. And that's not very beneficial, right? So these are learning curves that we need to now adapt to, but it really all depends on what you get. For example, my most recent client, one of the biggest learning curves was the light switches. So some of the lights that they got, they no longer needed to use the light switch, and they were turning on and off the light switches, and they were unsure if they were doing it right. So that's kind of a point where we now need to take a bit of a step back and learn, okay, we don't need to touch the light switches anymore. It'll do it for you when you walk in there. Don't worry, you don't need to touch it. You just walk in and it'll turn on. And that's something that it's a little bit intimidating if you've been in your own home for 20 something years and you're trying to now not touch a light switch to walk into the kitchen to have the lights turn on. So that's where a lot of the learning comes in. The interface on something like a tablet or your phone, I try and keep it as simple as possible so that it's easy to use and easy to navigate. But of course, there's training on what these buttons do. And one of my favorite buttons that I always include on your phone, your tablet, wherever it might be, is a support button. So I put in a button there where you can now tap that button, and directly from your home tablet, your phone, wherever you might be, you have direct contact to me so that you can reach us if there is any issues or concerns. You have direct access to get a hold of us.
Very, very cool. That's very cool. That's customer service. So, I mean, I don't know if I've asked, I want to ask you this question, but I could have touched on it a little bit
Sure.
earlier, but in your process. But, maybe give us an example of a home, a project that that you're particularly proud of.
Of course, and I'm happy to say this. This is it was our first client, the DeSantos home. They recently just had everything switch over to a smart home, and it was a very fun experience to go through that and how everything was going to be adjusted there for them, because that was a huge change. We did a lot of different changes there. They went from a standard door lock to now an intelligent door lock with doorbells and all the different sensors that we can supply. And it was a very big learning curve for them, or sorry, not a big learning curve, but a big adjustment to the new way of living, because you're no longer living in a very standardized touch button to turn things on, turn the switch on, turn the TV on, turn the lights off, forget to lock the door. Everything does it for them, and they're super happy with the way that it works. They are able to walk in, the lights turn on, walk out, the lights turn off. We were able to set up a lot of different security protocols for them to make sure that they felt secure in their new smart home, because that's one of the biggest benefits, right? Is you now have this smart home. I want to feel secure. I want to know that my house is working for me. And we've been able to do that. And they're recently renovating some of the areas in their home. So we've been able to expand that to different areas of their home to now make more use of these areas and make it all automated so that nothing is forgotten. Lights aren't left on. Lights are turning off for them. And they're turning on at different brightnesses at different times. And there's lots of enjoyment that they're having with that. And one of the best things that I felt accomplished with was they were really looking to have a way to determine when things happen. So by default, I would typically set up a schedule based on our discussions that we have in the beginning. But sometimes you want to change that on the fly. And when we first started this, I kept it very simple. So everything was not really in their face and everything was behind the scenes. But after a little bit of use, they got more comfortable and they're like, hey, I want to be able to manage these schedules myself. And I was able to provide them with a very cool way to manage these schedules with really easy to use sliders to say, hey, maybe 6 p.m. I want the lights to turn off, and 5 p.m. I want my TV to turn off, and slide all these different sliders to make their house work on their schedule, and it's adaptable to when they need to change that. And I think they're really enjoying it so far, and we're constantly in touch to make sure everything is going well. And I'm really happy to say that they're enjoying their new smart home, living simply automated.
Yeah, I see the doggies going crazy up there. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting. And for me, what a great selling feature, right? Like you're listing a home and it has all these products, or you're showing a home to a buyer. And I mean,
Right?
you know, and I hope people who take advantage of the system, if they were planning to sell, it's definitely something that's already done for you. So people coming in,
Yeah.
you know, it's a great selling feature, right? Because, and obviously I would encourage, you know, their agents to showcase that, because
Yeah.
everyone wants security, everyone wants to feel secure in a home, and this is already put together for them. So
Exactly. It's a great selling feature. I think it's something that adds a lot of benefit to your home, and for living in and resale value. It's just huge pieces that you can now add to add value to your home in a very unique way.
yeah, absolutely. I wanted to, you know, before we kind of get to the end of our show, I wanted to make sure that I've showcased you well and I've
Sure,
captured
sure.
everything. But now is like a free moment to kind of say, share anything that I may have like not asked or.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I really want to emphasize again is how customizable our software is and how customizable your experience can be with us. During any kind of discussions that we have, like I said, we don't follow the same structure that some of these bigger companies do. And I think that's one of the greatest experiences that somebody can have, is to be able to now customize what they want. When you're getting like a pool installed, sorry, if you're getting a pool installed, you're not going to just typically go with your regular square pool and say, yep, I'm going to pick that one from the department and you're going to put it in here. You want to have that customizable feel to it. And that's where some of the really cool landscaping projects come in. That's where some of the really cool options come in. And that's what we offer as well, is the ability to customize your life based on what you need. And we are always accepting new clients, and we are flexible with packages to work in any budget. And our goal is not just to throw some technology into your life and say, here, now you have technology, good luck. Our goal is to make your life easier and your home smarter. We want your home to work for you and to take a vision that you have and turn that into a reality that you can now live and enjoy that futuristic feel of sitting back in your chair and having the TV turn on for you, the sound turn on. There's some cool things that we've done in our home and in our clients' homes as well, is the ability to wake up in the morning to maybe the radio playing throughout the house. Some people like to wake up to the radio instead of a noisy alarm clock. Well, we've done that at home as well. Maybe you want to play soft music for maybe a dog that you have at home. As you heard, I have my dog at home and he loves to listen to soft music at night, and that's something that we can offer. Maybe you don't like speaking to your house. We offer buttons that you can press, maybe physical buttons rather than virtual buttons. So it's really cool, the different scales and flexibility that we have here to now make something that you feel would work for you, but you're not sure how to do it. That's where we can now come in to make it a reality. If you want to get a hold of us, you can always reach our Instagram page at home_automationist on Instagram, or you can reach us at our website, www.homeautomationist.com. And from there, you'll be able to fill out a very quick survey dictating exactly what you're looking for, and we'll be in touch with you to start discussing how we can make this work for you.
Perfect. And most importantly, people, it's customizable. That's what I heard him say, customizable, which means you can expand that order, which means if you decide, hey, my budget only allows so much, you can come back at a later time and add to it. So, give them a call. I think this is amazing. And then give me a call when you're selling your house so that I can top the system. Anyways, I'm just jokes aside. I want to thank you, Matt, for coming on the show. And I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And for all of you listening, I always appreciate your time spending your dinner time with us or your ride home from work. Either way, it's so appreciated. And so thank you again. And for those of you watching who don't know me, my name is Jacqueline Watson, and I'm a realtor with Sutton Group in Toronto. I do this show Monday evenings at 6. If you have a topic you'd like me to unpack further, then feel free to get in touch. But I was so excited to air the show today because I was like, oh my God, like everyone needs to be automated. And it makes life so much easier. And even for a showing, I could show a house, I could walk in and not have to worry, did I turn the lights off? Because the next person will have the lights on when they show up. Either way, thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. And I hope you will come back on the show maybe in a few months and we'll do another take on it.
I hope so. Well, it's been a pleasure being on the show. Thank you for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. This has been fun. I love talking about this. I love what I do, and I'm excited to share this with everybody. So if you are interested in automating your home, let me know. Let Jack know. We'll get in touch, and we'll make sure that we have everything in place to get you the perfect home that you're looking for.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks again. Until next Monday. Bye.
Bye now.